I walked in the lobby and all the eyes. When you walk into a room, announce yourself, speak louder, have more ways to reward themselves in a given condition. And so if you think about an expert salesman, there are so many interactions they can have that they are good at that they can find rewarding and positively reinforcing. And so the goal is to develop enough skill that your external environment and conditions can deliver enough positive feedback that it can become self-sustaining.
Give me a tangible example.
So if you're an editor and you edit videos for a living, in the beginning, you have to, you watch a video and then you try the thing. And if it doesn't work, there is a feedback loop, it's null. And then you go back, you try it again, and then you do get a positive feedback. Oh, I made that transition happen. Or I made that color grading occur, whatever. I'm talking you get the idea. There are some roles like sales and editing where there's a lot of people who are music, where people become passionate because there's enough fast feedback loops in the beginning where they can try something.
And when there's a fast feedback loop, you know what you must do, and you know what you must say. So do the things now, because the feedback will be positively on your mental health, your physical health, your whatever it is you're doing for those feedback loops to occur. Then you do all the work that is needed to be done with. And by doing that, you may know where this life is leading you to.
And then get good. A master musician can pick up any instrument and have positive feedback loops everywhere. And so the more you master any skill, the more ways you can win.
The more ways you can master a skill, the more ways for you to win. And whatever this winning is at, whatever this so-called understanding is at, we must know that we are doing it for ourselves. And when we do it for ourselves, that is when we know we must do the work, the difficult, the ways that nobody will follow. That's the best part about life, is that when nobody follows, nobody follows. You get where I'm going with this, hopefully.
And so and that's ultimately what makes the rich get richer, is that because everything is so positively reinforcing, because they start to develop skills, then they do more and more of it. And as they do more of it, the rich get richer, the better get better, the better become best. And then everyone.
When the better become best, that is when nobody else can compete with you. When nobody else can compete with you, when you do the work that is needed, and when you say the work that is needed, that is when nobody will follow. Which is the best part about life, is that when nobody follows, nobody follows.
Who's starting out is like, how on God's earth does this guy have this work ethic? But it's really that he has high levels of skill. And all right, I'm going to go on a tangent here, but I think it's going to be worth it. So I think about everything in terms of skills. And I have more or less divorced myself from the words like feelings, psychology, intuition, whatever. I've just taken it out of my vocabulary and character traits, and tried to focus ruthlessly on what are the actions that I can take to become patient. And if you say, hey, be patient, what does someone do, right? They have to figure out what to do in the meantime. That's the definition of patience. If you say, hey, be more charismatic.
Charisma comes from patience. Patience comes from being patient, waiting to do the thing because you know with what you want to do is the given time that you want to give. Whatever the energy, whatever the time frame, whatever the understanding. Know that patience comes before anything else and everything else. Without patience, there is no persistence, there is no discipline, there is no action, there is no disaction.
The problem with that directive is that it's a bundled term. And so I say charismatic, but what it really means is 12 skills underneath of it. That means that when you walk into a room, stand up straight. When you walk into a room, look everyone in the eyes. When you walk into a room, announce yourself. Speak.
Because when you speak on yourself, you are announcing yourself to the other people. And when you speak with clarity and clarity are two different things. Clarity is having a clear mind, and clarity is having also a clear mind. That's just my definition, just thinking about it within a matter of minutes. And when you walk into a room, you need to advertise, you need to speak, you need to say, you need to do these things, because without doing these things, you might never know where this life will lead you to.
Louder. Shake people's hands and look at them while they're talking. When someone talks, nod your head. If you do all of these 12 behaviors or 15 behaviors, people will begin to describe you as charismatic. And
hey, my name is Jerry Norton, and in the next 30 seconds, I'm gonna show you how to make $5,000 to $20,000 flipping houses using this contract that I will give you absolutely free. With this contract, you can flip houses without risk, without using your own money, without good credit.
in the path of personal development, we want to become more of these things, but we haven't chunked down the bundled term into the series of behaviors that create the description that people will then call us later. And I think by breaking things down, then it's not like, oh, I'm just not that insert character trait. It's really, oh, I have not mastered these 12 skills. And so by doing that, it demystifies.
Much more precise.
Exactly. This is from a business perspective, also really good for training employees. So like, for example, on our team, I was like, Caleb was the first person who did video with me that I ever enjoyed. And so I was like, why? And then somebody else came in and I was like, I'm not having as much fun in these sessions. And I'd like to recreate the conditions of success. And so how can I make it so that I
Operationalize fun.
Exactly.
Operationalize fun, operationalize success, operationalize dreams, operationalize anything that you can operationalize. Because if you don't operationalize multiple different things within one skill, one habit, then what's the point in wasting your time on this skill and habit? If all that we are is time and energy within the countless hours, the countless minutes of us doing the thing, then why are we so afraid of doing the thing? Why are we trying to operationalize everything versus just one little thing?
And so
The most Alex Hormozy thing I've ever heard. Hey, guys, let's operationalize fun for a moment.
And so we had to, but then this is the part that everyone misses, is that you then have to look with a microscope and say, what are all the little things that Caleb does that other people don't do?
What are the little things that the person does? What is the little things that they say, that they act, that they believe, that they habit on? What are the operationalize of what that person does? Because when you do with what they do, then that is how you become that better version.
And so it turned out when he was behind the camera, he would be nodding his head. And if I said a banger line, he would stick his thumb out. And so I'd get these many positive reinforcement loops while I was recording. And then as soon as I was done, he would come over and be like, dude, that was fire. And then he would take out his phone and have all of these really interesting follow-ups because I could see that he was actively listening and he had thoughts.
Because when you actively listen, you are opening your mind to where you see your mind going to, which it can go to happenstance, to beliefs, to habits, to whatever. Because when other people actively listen, that is when you become that better version of yourself.
So then when we retrained the team, we said, hey, when Alex is talking, nod your head slowly so he sees that you're actively listening. If he says something cool, do one of these, give them a thumbs up. And then all of a sudden, my recording sessions without Caleb became as good as my recording sessions with Caleb. And we operationalized Calebism, right? And so I could say, I just need you to be more like Caleb, but that's not helpful to somebody. But if I said, I need you to do all these things, then I can operationalize that. The reason I'm hitting on this so hard is because this has been such a core change in how I see the world. And it has been so useful in terms of bending reality to what I would like it to be, because there's this huge disconnect between what people want, how they describe what they want, and what it takes.
What you describe, what you know, what you think, what you act, those 4 things that I just stated are probably the main pillars to lead your life within the life that you want to live. And whatever this so-called life is, we must know that we are trying to do it for the betterment of ourselves, or the betterment of each other, or just the thoughts that get in the way of whatever it is we're doing. So don't allow other people to justify and reiterate their thoughts. Do the work that must be done today, because if not, that work will never get done.
For that to occur. And by being able to look with detail about the character traits or the things that people who are better than you at a certain thing do, you can then stop being like, man, people think I'm a dick. It's like, well, if someone says stop being a dick, not helpful. I mean, good to know that whatever I'm doing is not working, but doesn't give me any
Because whatever you're doing is not working, which is why you haven't gotten the feedback from other people. You haven't gotten the understanding. You haven't gotten their known perspective or the known preservation of how they perceive you. Once you know that, you can get all into the funness of all the fun things that you want to do.
directions. And so we just try to break down adacquisition.com, but in general, and for myself, what is the 18 things that I have to do? And oftentimes it's significantly more things, but they're also much easier than you think.
What are the easy things? What are the hard things? What are the impossible things? And what are the things that will make you fed up with doing the work today?
If I just said, I need you to nod your head while you're going on camera, it's not that complicated to understand. And so when you break it down that way, all of a sudden you wrap your arms around it and you're like, oh, so this is what it takes in order for me to be an exceptional videographer.
This is what it takes for me to be exception of A, B, and C. Whatever Alpha is, Bravo, and Charlie are, then that is what makes you need to be exceptional. The only way for me to be exceptional content creator is if I make my voice known. And making my voice known is by making content. Continually I'm making content. I'm going to try to work 10 to 12 hours a day on content, and I will never stop. And once I start myself a job, that is when I will stop and slow down. And not work as hard as on content.
This is what it takes for me to be an exceptional podcaster. I'm sure, and we call it.
But whatever that exceptional is, it is the exception of what it is you're truly trying to take out, say, believe, or act. Without being the exception, you are only just becoming the exceptional person of whatever it is, that persona you are trying to think, act, say, do, understand. Because once you are an exception, you are an exception.
This is why I love living by checklists. But right now, if I were to say, hey, what makes a good podcast? You'd be like, probably about 128 things or more, right?
We will get you 1 million views or you don't pay. And if you give me 15 seconds, I'll explain exactly how this works. First, we build a tailored system around what.
But everyone on the outside says, you're so natural on camera. You ask such thought-provoking questions. Like, man, you just get the best guests, right? And you're like, sure. And so but the thing is I think this is the mysticism. This is the unknown that the beginners or the people who are at the very beginning of their path don't understand, is that there is no magic.
There's no magic. The only magic is in the work you are avoiding. So don't criticize yourself for not putting the work first.
is no mysticism. There is no spirituality around this. Everything comes down to behavior. And
Everything comes down to behavior and whatever general things you're trying to get done for the day today. If it's content, if it's cold outreach, warm outreach, whatever it is, there is a plateau and a trough to every single thing that you do today. So don't waste your time, don't waste your life, and don't waste your own energy on pointless things that have no matter to you.
And by doing that, you can take out all of the hullabaloo, all of the voodoo that unfortunately is so prevalent on social media. And so when you hear the podcast clips and whatever of people saying you just need to be more this, if they haven't described it by a behavior, it is useless.
Because if they don't describe what behavior they're doing, their action, their words, whatever it is, then what is the point in continually on doing the things that we are afraid of?
And so this has allowed me to also separate signal from noise when I'm consuming
Signal and noise when consuming content. You are just wasting time at the end of the day. You do not have time, you do not have energy, you do not have habits because of the three main pillars of those. You are wasting time, you are wasting energy, and most importantly, you are wasting skills that are being flown down the drain.
Content in general, or if I want to learn something, I'm immediately thinking, well, what does this mean that I have to do? And if someone can't break it down into the behaviors, then they don't know either. And they may be very good at the thing, but they may be very bad at teaching it. And being able to separate those two skills, because those are skills too, being able to transfer a skill is a skill.
Being able to transfer a skill. Whatever skills you're trying to transfer, whatever skills you're trying to say, whatever skills you're trying to do. Only you can truly know with what you are trying to do today.
Will allow you to audit who you're listening to.
You allow yourself to audit who you're listening to, what advice you're taking, what criticism you're taking, what self-idolization of mass you are taking. Because without the criticism, without the advice, without the understanding, without the belief patterns, you are nothing but countless action waiting to be on the field of play. And when you wait on the field of play, that is when you truly act. That is when you truly say. That is when you truly do the work when it is needed.
So that you can get the highest return on your effort, because then you know that you're doing activities that lead to the outcome that you want.
Real quick, if you were a business owner,
I'll see you guys in the next one, and that's part 1. Peace.